Hi folks, welcome to the Storyboard. My name is Bo and today we're going to be continuing our study in the book of Jude. Now, originally I actually wanted to start right at the back of the Bible because, you know, naturally I just wanted to go to the back of the book and find out the ending, but that wound me up at Revelation and boy is that a trip. I mean, talk about dragons and scales and horsemen and shouting, always lots of shouting. La la la. Why are they always shouting? I mean, can't these angels, can't they announce doom and gloom, you know, in a bit more of a tactful manner? Anyway, I thought we could do with just a little bit of a, you know, a bit of a run-in before we tackle that big monster of a book. So, I thought we'd start with the book of Jude. So, Jude. I suppose I should start with a bit of an introduction. So.
And now, reading out of the red corner, weighing in at exactly 2 pages, it's Jude!
Well, not exactly that sort of introduction, but that was fun while it lasted. So it turns out Jude is this very short letter written by Jude in 50 AD. Now, for those of you counting, that's 1,963 years ago. Or, for those of you not counting, it was a million, trillion, gazillion years ago. Long time ago. Back when there was no iPod, iPhone, or iBread, or iSandwich, eyeliner. Get it? Eyeliner? Eyeliner? Come on, that was funny. It was funny. It was fun. So the fellow who wrote this, Jude, he was really old, and he was writing to some friends who were also really old. And not in the sense that they were old people, but they were around a long, long time ago. It's kind of like, imagine if, you know, you were just sort of rummaging around in someone's mail and you came across a letter by Jude, only it's, you know, 1,900 odd years ago. So essentially we're kind of eavesdropping a little bit, but like kind of ancient eavesdropping. But essentially that's what we're doing. And what makes it even more interesting is that this is not even in our language. It's in a really, really ancient form of Greek. It's so ancient that even Greek people today can't read it without translating it first. So naturally, we need to translate it ourselves. If you're sort of thinking of an English example of this, think of if you've ever read Geoffrey Chaucer, Canterbury Tales. Like, it's the same sort of thing where it's technically English, but it's so old and archaic that you need to translate it. I mean, Geoffrey Chaucer's sort of Le Fleur Chopper, something, the night on, okay, that was terrible, but take my word for it, it's really, really difficult, kind of old English, you know, old where it has O-L-D-E, that sort of thing. So with Jude, we, unlike today, where you can just, you know, Google Translate anything you want, we actually have to translate it ourselves using books, and scrolls, and you know, those linguist guys with the big beards that are, you know, they're pretty much today's wizards. So we have to translate it, you know, the kind of the old-fashioned way. And even when we've translated these words like correctly, we still need to work out how to interpret them right, because a lot of the phrases that they used back then are totally unknown to us now. So we have to decipher whole sentences and what they mean to, you know, try and understand what Jude was saying to the original listeners, because it could all just be, you know, gobbledygook to us. So, let's get straight into Jude and find out what he's got to say. Here we go. Judas Isu Christodoulos Adav... Hang on, wrong version. Jude, slave of Jesus Christ and brother of James. There we go, that's a little bit better. To those who are called, having been loved by God and kept safe in Jesus Christ, may mercy, peace and love be multiplied to you. Wow, there you go. Jude says he's a slave. It's a bit tough, don't you reckon? Especially considering who he really is. You see, the thing is, people keep forgetting this, but Mary and Joseph, you know, the whole story goes as they meet and she's a virgin, she gives birth to baby Jesus in the manger, and the whole nativity thing, and there's cows and sheep and goats and rhinos and sharks and the whole thing, you know, you've seen it every Christmas. What people don't realise is that after Jesus was born, she wasn't a virgin. They were married, they had kids. In fact, they had 4 sons and at least 2 daughters. And Jude, our letter writer, well, he's one of them. I mean, talk about growing up with Jesus. Imagine growing up with God in human form as your brother. I mean, that is a bit of a head trip. I mean, what would you do? What would you say to him? I mean, imagine the benefits. So, how you going, Jesus? So I was thinking about moving houses soon. It's a bit tough these days with the inflation and the market and that sort of thing. Just wondering if you could lend me a small hand? Yeah, sure, no worries. I'm actually a qualified carpenter. I was thinking more, sort of a divine hand, you know what I mean? You know, sort of magical period and nothing sort of a hand. No. But Jude doesn't try any of that. In fact, while they're growing up, he doesn't even believe that Jesus is God. Well, not at that point. I mean, he obviously believes now, or later on, but before all the crucifixion and that, Jude just thought he was just an average guy, you know, he's alright, you know, he's becoming a rabbi dude, he's doing all this stuff, but he just thought he was a normal bloke. No, here, he doesn't say that he's some spiritual bigwig or a pope or a bishop or any of that, you know, someone with like, you know, a lot of authority over men. He simply says he's a slave, and what he means by that is he means he's under authority, like a slave is. So instead of being, you know, on equal terms with Jesus, he simply says, I'm just an ordinary guy, just like all of you other Christians out there in the ancient world. I'm just an ordinary guy, but we're all under the authority of Jesus Christ, who is God. So what else does Jude say in his letter? Well, he starts naturally with a letter writing who it's from and who it's to. Now, in ancient letters, unlike today's letters, you actually put your name and their name at the start of the letter. It actually makes a lot more sense because when you open letters, you always go down to the bottom first to check out who it's from. Well, in the ancient times, they actually wrote, this is Bill writing to Steve, and they would have that at the start of the letter. And it was a lot more clear. I don't know why we do it our way. But anyway, so he's writing who they're to. And who does he write to? Well, he says, to those who are loved by the Father and kept safe in Jesus Christ. It's a bit vague, really. I mean, you could have just said, hi Bill, or to my dearest cousin Simon. It's not really clear, is it? But the thing is, that's kind of the point of this introduction. He's not trying to write to a certain person, he's writing to a group of people, a community of people. In fact, the biggest growing community in that day and age in the ancient Roman Empire, which of course is the Christians. Jude also starts the kind of the body of his letter with this kind of strange archaic blessing. He says, may mercy, peace and love be multiplied to you. Now, seriously, who says that sort of stuff these days? No, well, no one I've heard of. But in the first century, when you were writing a letter to someone, it was actually customary to add a sort of a generic blessing at the start of every letter. So he's not trying to be overly soppy or, you know, trying to suck up to someone, trying to, oh, you're such a beautiful person, I'll give you money. No, he's just doing what everyone used to do. I mean, other ones, you see this in a lot of other books. You see that in Colossians, Philippians, Romans, 1 Corinthians, Peter, more Peter, John, Revelation. They all have this blessing at the start, and it's just part of a normal, everyday letter writing procedure. It's kind of like in today's emails and letters, where, you know, at the start you always put, dear so-and-so. And at the end of the letter, you always say, you know, yours sincerely, Squibby-doo, you know, whatever your name is. Everyone always has these same introductions and same, you know, statements at the end. It's usually sincerely, Flooby-doo. So Squibby-doo and Flooby-doo. That's what we'll go with for today. Awesome. And it's the same thing with these ancient letters, is that there's usually always a blessing, and people usually have their own personalised one. What's very interesting is actually going through all those books that I mentioned before and comparing the blessings and see how they differ and all this kind of stuff. Or if you're lazy like me, don't. Well, that's it for today. Stay tuned. Come back for the next video and we're going to do Jude verses 3 and 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave comments below because, I don't know, I'll read them and then comment back maybe. Who knows. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time. See you later. Bye.